need somebody help, not just anybody.
Hey everybody, it's Nick with Copper State Vapes. Just wanted to kind of do a real quick how-to video on something that I've had a lot of people ask about. It's the Black Russian build. It's pretty much something that people have been asking about. Oh, they're getting dry hits, or oh, they're having problems wicking, or just having issues. So I'm just going to do a real quick how-to. I know there's probably plenty of them out there, but here's my take on it. So first thing I want to start off with is giving you a couple pointers on how to clean these things. What I would recommend for it is run it under some warm water. If you want to use soapy water, that's fine. You can soak it in isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. That'll do the job just fine for you. If there's any excess machine oil or whatnot that's left over from manufacturing. All right, so real quick, here's just a rundown of the parts that are included in this Russian 91%. You have your deck that you're going to build your coil on. You have your chimney, your chamber, your top ring, your center ring, bottom ring, top cap, and 510 drip tip. Now real quick, I know that a lot of people have been having some issues with the center pins. Either they're too tight or they're too loose. Here's a real quick look at what the center pin inside these things look like if you haven't already broken it down and found out for yourself. This bottom screw right here is actually your adjustment screw. What you're going to do is you can actually take this out, and that'll actually show another flathead slot. This slot is actually there so you can tighten the pin in the base to tighten down your posts to keep them from moving around, which I'll show you. So this is what the center pin looks like when it's installed into the deck of the Russian 91. As you can see here, your adjustment screw to where you can adjust the height for contact. And you can see where the top of the pin actually comes through the actual build deck. So like I said before, that adjustment pin comes all the way out. And then you can see the slot that you're going to take your flathead screwdriver and tighten your pin. And when you do this, you're going to want to maybe take your fingers and hold on to the deck or maybe a pair of pliers, and then you're going to just tighten the pin to where it has a little more resistance to keep this deck or post from flopping around on you. The thing that's also very important on these types of atomizers is that you want to make sure that this post does not touch this other post. You want to make sure that when you look through it, you can see daylight, because you don't want these posts to touch, otherwise you'll short out your atomizer and it's bad news. Alright, so real quick before we start building this, just wanted to kind of show you what I've got going on to the deck here. It's a 28 gauge micro coil wrapped on a 1.8 millimeter screwdriver. Alright, so I've got my coil on my build now, and one thing I'm going to do is make sure that I'm going to pull up on this coil just a little bit, make sure that it's not touching that center pin. So we got the leads cut off and all trimmed up and ready to roll, and I'm going to check the ohm reading on it, and I'm getting a no read on this. So if this ever happens to you on a variable voltage device, or you put it on a mechanical device and all of a sudden it's not working, here's how you fix it. The adjustment pin on the bottom, we're going to back that out just a little bit. As you can see, it's just barely sticking out there, and that hopefully will be enough to make contact for our ohm reader. There it is, 0.80. Alright, now that we got the coil built on the deck, we went ahead and put it onto our mechanical device. We're going to unlock the threads on the device, and we're going to go ahead and just make sure that it's firing evenly all the way across. Looks like it's heating up just fine. You know, make sure you have your coils nice and compressed and tight and cleaned up. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a 100% hemp wick from nixwicks.com. So now I've got one of the strands of hemp out of the bag. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to pull off just a little bit to make our wick. So now that we've got the hemp wick through the coil, what we're going to do is we're going to take and just squeeze these together up like this. And we're going to take your chimney, and we're going to slide it down over top just like this and screw it down. Now that we've got those cleaned up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to push the wick down into the chamber. Right. And just a little tip for any possible wicking issues. What I like to do is once the wick is in here, I like to go ahead and kind of just push it up against the deck and off to the side to make sure that I'm not blocking the juice channels. The juice I'm going to use is the apple cider by Nick's Blissful Brews. Alright, so now that we've got the wick packed down nice and clean, we're going to go ahead and just put a little juice on the coil and on the wick. Go ahead and just fire it up. See how the vapor production is. We got that all set. We'll go ahead and just put it together. And just stick our rings on, and center ring, top ring, and then our top cap. So now that we've got the Black Russian 91% reassembled, I'm going to show you how to fill this from the bottom. Now we got the fill screw out. We'll go ahead and just take our bottle of juice and we're just going to go ahead and fill it up. Now that we got our juice in there, we're going to replace the screw. Now that we've got it back together, let's give it a try and see how she vapes. That is tasty, tasty juice. Okay, one thing I wanted to actually bring up to you guys, with the adjustable airflow, if you're using a thinner liquid, you probably could use more open of a draw because you don't have to have so much pressure pulling that juice in. But if you're using a thicker juice, like a more viscous juice, like a 80-20 or a higher VG, you're going to want to have a closed, tighter draw to create enough pressure and vacuum to pull that juice into your channels to up into your wick. A couple tips for you. If you've noticed that you have juice leaking out of the air holes, or if you get like a gurgly sound when you take a draw off of it, a real easy, simple fix for you is take your atomizer and turn it upside down and place your mouth over the air intake hole and then blow and hit your fire button at the same time so you look like a choo-choo train. What it does is it actually forces the excess liquid that's in your chamber out through your mouth tip. So you'll notice you will get some juice coming out of your tip, but that's just the excess, and then when you go to take another draw on it, it's nice and clear, ready to roll. Another tip in a reverse situation where you get a dry hit or you're not getting juice wicked up properly, another thing that you can do is take your finger and cover the air hole and pull in. It's called a flutter technique. What that does is it'll help create that vacuum and pull that juice up into the chamber for you. If you're having to flutter your airflow a lot, you might have your airflow a little too loose, so you might want to tighten that up a little bit to create that negative pressure in your tank. So I hope that helps for any of you guys out there who are trying to figure out how to build these things or to get really good performance out of them. If you want, you can check these out. They're available at copperstatevapes.com or russianrba.com. If you need any extra parts or replacement parts, russianrba.com has them in stock. And also, if you're interested in the hemp wicks, you can visit nickswicks.com. Awesome flavor and excellent vapor production. So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at my link below. And keep on vaping.
Please help me, help me, help me.